In this video, I'll talk about charging by conduction. There are different ways of charging an object. And in this particular video, I'll talk about how do you charge an object by induction process. This device here, this device is called the Goldleaf Electroscope. So this is called Goldleaf Electroscope. And the reason we called electroscope because it can measure or it can detect charges. That's the reason we call electroscope. The electro means charge here and a scope means measure. So, but in this case we detect the charge. That's the reason we call it as a electroscope. And we call it gold leaf because the foils attached here are made of the gold. That's why we call it gold leaf electroscope. And this entire thing is metal. This is the gold leaf, and this entire thing is made of metal, mostly aluminum or steel. So in the charging by conduction method, we bring a positively charged glass rod. It could be positively charged or it could be negatively charged. So in this case, here I'm just showing you a process where we bring a positively charged glass rod near an electroscope here. When you bring this positively charged glass rod, what happens? This positive charge attracts the negative charge here. Or in other words, so you will have an accumulation of negative charges on this end and accumulation of positive charges on the other end. So this positive charge attracts the free electrons. So the free electrons will be accumulated on this side. As the free electrons are accumulated on this side, the opposite side will have the positive charges. As both leaves have the positive charge, they repel each other. And that's why you see a deflection here. So before charging, the gold leaf electroscope was just hanging like this. It was hanging like this. Now, once it charges, it deflects. That's the reason you get this shape here, because the positive charge repel each other. So when you bring this positively charged glass rod, we are not touching the metal bob here. Now in the second step, what we do, we touch the glass rod, the positively charged glass rod, to the metal bob here. What happens now? This negatively charged electrons now shifts to the glass rod and neutralizes. So it neutralizes all the positive charges onto the glass rod now. But now what happens now when we remove the glass rod, this positive charge which is onto the other side of the which was onto the gold leaf electroscope is now distributed, because this entire thing is metal, so it now redistributes itself. Once you remove, the gold leaf electroscope now becomes totally positively charged. This process, the charging, is called charging by conduction. The reason we call conduction because we're touching the charge, we're touching the metal bob. Whenever you touch something, that process is called conduction. Now in the next video, I will talk about the induction process where we do not touch it. So without touching, that means induction. When you touch an object, that is called conduction. So in the charging by conduction process, the gold leaf electroscope in this case is positively charged. So all the time, the charges have the object that is charged has the same polarity as the glass rod. If you bring a negatively charged glass rod here, the gold leaf will be negatively charged. Whatever the charge it does have, this one will have the same polarity. Okay, so it's a very simple process of charging metal foils, in this case the gold leaf, by conduction process.